the popular thing on Twitter of no-coiners, as they're called, or crypto skeptics, responding to tweets about NFTs by saying, I just right-click saved. There, now I own it. No, you don't own it. And I understand their point that anyone can take a screenshot and display it. That's totally true. I mean, that's not even, there's no argument there. You know, I can say, look at my Bored Ape that I paid $30,000 for, and someone else can say, I took a screenshot and now it's my profile picture. Sure, but I own it. They can't move it. I'm the only one with the keys to the address that can sell it. So, you know, the Mona Lisa thing has kind of become a punchline, but it's the truth. Anyone can make their Twitter profile picture the Mona Lisa. It doesn't mean you own it. And I just think that's so funny that drum that the NFT skeptics keep beating. It's like they think if they say it enough, it'll become true and the whole market will collapse. And by the way, prices are going to fluctuate. And every time a new chart comes out with showing that NFT prices went down for 2 weeks straight, they come back out of the woodwork and they say, see, NFTs are dead, NFTs are dead. They're not dead. It's a marketplace, just like with crypto prices. You know, when Bitcoin goes down 10%, you don't say, see, I was right, Bitcoin's dead. Maybe Nouriel Roubini says it. But NFTs are going to be like that. I believe it's here to stay, but I agree with you that we haven't even yet seen the really compelling use cases of it.
NFTs. The reality is reproduction does not diminish the value of the original. It increases it dramatically. The fact that kids hang silly prints of Van Goghs in their dorm rooms at college doesn't diminish the value at auction of the original paintings. It dramatically increases them. Indeed, we've seen those impressionist pieces go for over $100 million. So this idea that you can right-click and save and somehow you have something that is a competitor for the original, I think that's a foolish paradigm. And I think it doesn't really fundamentally understand either human nature or the underlying technology, the promise of the technology, the ability to retain an economic interest in something, the ability to collect for example, cash flows on something like a copyright. This is a fascinating space. We're just getting started. Sometimes these things look a little bit silly.
And by the way, quick side note, to all the people who think the NFT boom is completely stupid and they're out there, what do they say to these very smart people in tech with proven track records of betting on the right things who do believe in it? I mean, are they just idiots? Are they wrong? Have they been suckered? But Alexis Ohanian, the co-founder of Reddit, has tweeted out at times his NFTs, including a Bored Ape. And just the other day, he responded to one of those people who said, I right-click saved it. He said, please do, and please promote it and use it because it only makes mine more valuable. And I agree with that. I think that over time, certain collections will rise and fall. I mean, I'm not saying that I think Bored Apes are going to be worth $100,000 per in 10 years. I don't know. But I think all this stuff is interesting, and I think that the form is here to stay. And if the best thing you can say right now to dismiss it all is, I just took a screenshot, I mean, okay, I can take a screenshot of anything. I can take a screenshot of someone's terrific article that they publish. Doesn't mean I wrote it.
Look, drawdowns happen. This is what makes markets markets. The ability of people to bid and offer at different price levels. The fact is, one of my favorite charts, and I'm just going to describe this. I know I'm going to put it on the screen, but I'm going to describe it for people who are listening to this on the podcast. Go up to Yahoo Finance and take a look at a chart of Amazon from 1999 to 2009. If you bought Amazon at its peak in 1999, you lost like 90% of your value and you stayed underwater for something like 7 years. Now, if you were making those arguments, there's a famous Barron's cover with Jeff Bezos on it, and it's basically talking about the collapse of Amazon. And boy, that was a silly idea. And wasn't this internet thing kind of silly? And it's not going to be a single individual who's going to, accumulate a huge amount of value for it. They had some thesis, I think, about how everyone was going to open up their own web store. And I mean, look, you look back on these things, and there are two things that sort of stand out. First, it's incredibly hard to make predictions about the future. Second, great technology ideas can be too early and they can be massively overbid. You can lose money on NFTs.
Yeah, surprise.
You can lose money in crypto. That's not a doubt, right? You can lose money speculating on equities. You can lose money speculating on meme stocks. You have to understand things like asset allocation if you're an investor. But look, the reality is the technology, the fundamental promise of this technology to create decentralized networks of value, the ability to create decentralized networks of trust, of identity. These are things that we've never before seen. And it is something that is a dramatic improvement, at least in principle, from the way that things are run now when you have middlemen standing between just about every transaction that you want to execute. Like, Dan, if I decide I want to buy a car from you, like a used car, right? How do we do that in 2021? I physically go down to Chase Bank. I show them a picture I show them my photo ID. They issue me a check if I have the funds in my account. I take the check, I drive it over to wherever you are. Yes, this looks okay. You sign over the pink sheets to me. I mean, look, this is like an incredibly antiquated 20th century or even 19th century process. This is the way that we do high value transactions. Now, look, you can say, well, I can just Venmo it to you. Guess what? The max value on Venmo is $4,999, right? So this is a problem that has still not been solved. And when you see this technology, fundamentally, it's creating something that we've never seen before, the ability to transact without middlemen in a secure, trustless way. In the music space, for people who aren't following this story, give us a quick overview on what's happening in music and NFTs.
Well, sure. I mean, first of all, people just have to understand the idea that even once you own an NFT, in many cases you can resell it. In many cases, the NFT allows copies, but usually those additional versions or every resale of the one NFT give a cut back to the original creator. And so a lot of people look at this and they see a chance for creators of all kinds. That's a big umbrella. That could be writers, that could be musicians, to actually get paid more for their work than they have in the past. I mean, I think a lot of people forget the streaming revolution, the music streaming revolution, has not been good for artists. I mean, most of them, unless you're Taylor Swift, they get like a penny per play, or even fractions of pennies every time their music is played on Spotify. You know, I think we quoted in one of our stories a group that had something like 20,000 plays in a given year, which is not nothing for a new band, and they got sent a check from Spotify for like $6. Right. That sucks. Now, if they could issue each track in NFT form, and that would allow not only their fans to be more engaged with their music, but the creator to get a bigger cut every time someone buys the NFT, all kinds of new opportunities emerge. And so you've seen some real big names get in on this. I mean, Kings of Leon put out their new album as an NFT that you could do multiple versions of. Now we have Blau, Justin Blau, 3Lau, as it is stylized, has started a new platform called Royal, which is all about, you know, putting out albums and singles in NFT form. Then you have, you know, Euler Beats, which are NFTs that each one has a unique digital piece of sound, you know, a 30-second clip with a little record spinning on a turntable, and those have sold for tons of money, and every time they're resold, the original owner makes a cut. So there's just, you know, the sky's the limit here in terms of the possibilities. Why wouldn't you, if you're an artist, also put out your music in NFT form? You got nothing to lose, unless you truly just think, I don't believe in this stuff and I'm going to be made fun of. But more and more and more artists are getting in on this. Timbaland, you know, Cypress Hill the other day. The examples are far and wide. And again, just like we said earlier, who knows the additional use cases that we could see? I mean, Mark Cuban talking about NFTs for tickets, and that could cut down on scalpers. We've seen people put out NFT versions of their essays, you know, writers doing it.